Okay, so this is part 2 of the hand modeling video in the tutorial series I'm doing, and we left off the last video where we had our fingers modeled and the thumb modeled and the start of the main part of the hand. So this next part, I'm splitting this into a separate video because this is quite a different style of modeling. We're going to be using edge modeling here, and before we've used all box modeling, and this part of the hand is kind of a bit more complicated to model, so I'm going to leave it in its own video so you can watch this separately. To get this started, so we're going to go to the bottom view, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to move this vertex back a little bit first. So what we're going to do is we're going to model the pad where the thumb is on the palm of the hand and the pad on the other side of the palm, and then there's a little indent here. So we're going to kind of get this general shape done. So what I'm going to do is just hold shift on that edge to drag it out, and just drag out 3 polygons here, and I'm just going to get the rough shape of the pad area. So something like this is what we want, I think. So we have this shape, and now we just need to give it some actual depth. So at the minute it's pretty flat, so we're going to just pull this down and deselect that edge. With just these middle 2 edges selected, we're just going to pull this down even more, quite a lot more in fact. Now what I'm going to do is just pull these 2 vertices up a bit, and maybe pull these 3 down a little bit more even, and this end one down a little bit. So we get something roughly that shape, and I'm actually going to pull this one down a little bit as well. So we'll go back into the bottom view and do the next section. So what I'm going to do is just pull out these 2 edges to follow this kind of shape here. So just select these 2 edges and pull them down and follow the kind of line that I've done with the other ones. So something like this, and now just line these up as well. So I think I might move this down a little bit further. Okay, so again, just reposition all these, and I'm going to start curving this outwards on this end because the thumb's going to come in there and it comes out here. So I'm going to just move these over a little bit again, and these vertexes here I'm going to weld together. So weld, weld, weld. Now what we're going to do is just start to reshape this a bit. So we've got this kind of shape going. We'll just pull these ones down a little bit. Not too much here though. Maybe pull these down a bit more than they were. And then same with these 2 vertices here. Just pull them down a little bit. So now we've got this kind of pad shape here. Might need to pull that one back up a bit actually. Let's just look at it at a few different angles to try to get the general shape you're going for, which is going to be something like this, I think. Okay, so now again I'll go properly into the bottom view, and what I'm going to do now is the pad on this side, because we've got a good start on this side now. So I'm just going to space these out a little bit more maybe. Yeah, I'm going to pull these out quite a bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these two edges, do the same thing. I'm just going to drag these down straight for now. So 1, 2, 3. And then just line these up roughly where I want them. So what I'm going to do is grab all these and move them out a tiny bit, and then move this one in a tiny bit, just so we have this kind of slight curve to the outside of the hand. And for this we're going to start to move in. I'm going to move these all down a bit. So we have this kind of shape, and what I'm going to do now is just in my left view, I'm just going to grab all of these, move them down a tiny bit, and pull this one back up a tiny bit. So what we've done there is just kind of given that edge a little bit of shape. Now I'm going to do something similar here. I'm going to pull these down, but I'm going to pull these down quite a bit more, because this is where the pad is. And then I'm going to pull this one back up a little bit. So we've got that pad shape started now. Then I'm going to pull these two down a little bit, and this one down just a tiny bit. Okay, so we have this general shape here now. So now I'm going to go back into the bottom view again, and I'm doing this kind of quickly because this is going to take quite a long time anyway, so I'm just going to try to do it a bit fast, hopefully not too fast so you can't follow along. So now we've got this gap here in the palm, the last bit we have to fill in kinda. So all I'm going to do here is go to target weld and weld the pad of the thumb to the pad we had there. I'm not going to weld these bits. What I'm going to do now is go to border mode, so press 3 and select this border here, and I'm going to cap it. Now we've got this polygon here which has 6 sides, and so we need to split this up into quads if we can. So what I'm going to do is cut from here to here, and I've made a triangle here now, and this, if I make this cut here, it's going to have another triangle there. So I don't really want to create triangles here. So what I'm going to do is cut from the middle of this up to here, and that's going to give us 4 quads instead. So we've got this kind of shape now, and I'm going to pull this vertex up a little bit, because this is going to create the indent in our hand that I'm looking for. So in this view I'm just going to pull it down a little bit more, maybe start to pull these down just to get that shape going. Maybe pull this one down even more, and I'm looking here, I might just pull these down a little bit more even, and same with them. Just, it looks like it's a bit too high to me. It's not quite as pronounced as that. So now we've got the base of the hand done, and that's kind of the hardest part. So after this it's just a case of filling in all the rest here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this edge and this edge and just extrude these out the same amount of times as I did with the other one. So 3 segments. I'm going to go to vertex mode now and target weld from here to here, and here to here, and here to here. So now we've got this kind of shape here on this side. In my left view I'm just going to pull these down a little bit. All I'm doing there is kind of following the same curve that I had, and I'm going to pull these up slightly just so the hand has a bit of a shape on the top. In fact, I'm going to pull them up a little bit more and pull this one up a little bit, and I'm going to grab all these vertices here, so these 3, these 4 in fact, and just pull this up a tiny bit, match that kind of curve there. So now these are starting to come up. And I'm actually going to do the same on the bottom here, where these pads kind of at your knuckle would be. So I'm just going to pull those out a bit, just to give it a bit of a bump before it goes down into the indent and before it starts the pads. So I think that's pretty good. So now in our top view, we can work pretty much in the top view now, I think. What I'm going to do is just shape this a bit more. So pull this in, pull that in, pull that in, and in fact I'm going to have to pull these out, I think, just to keep that hand from bowing in anywhere. Something like that should be sufficient. I might just pull this one out as well to help that get started. Okay, so now in the top view, what I'm going to do is grab this edge and this edge and extrude these out on the X and Y, and just kind of, I'm lining this edge up here, kind of just to follow the shape of the hand. So now what I'm going to do is just go to vertex mode and target weld this vertex into the one we already have there. Now back in the top view again, I'm going to just move this vertex over a little bit. Maybe move this one a bit as well. I'm going to pull this out a little bit because that's where the knuckle is going to be of the thumb. So I want that to kind of come out a bit and then this come in. So I'm also going to grab all of this, I think, maybe not that, and just move that in a little bit. And just kind of create that shape there. So I've just moved the pad over a little bit, is all I've done there. So now we have this edge here. What I can do is just pull, I actually need to pull this vertex up a little bit now, I think, and this one. So I'll pull them up a bit, pull this one up a little bit more than the other one. Now in the left view, if I zoom in, you can see I'm kind of going up towards this line here, so it's going to come across here, and this vertex is going to come up here somewhere. It's not going to go up the whole way, because we're going to add another one that will go up the rest of the way. So I'm just going to pull that up a bit and this up a bit, just to get that flow started as well, so it flows up into the wrist. So with this edge selected now, I'm just going to extrude it out straight and go to vertex mode and target weld this vertex to this one, and then I'm going to go to this angle here and just kind of raise this up a little bit. I'm going to actually raise this up a little bit as well. And now in the top view, I'm going to just pull this over somewhere around here, I think. Should be good. If I go across, I want to line it up kind of with that end, so somewhere there maybe, and I can just pull this back a little bit to kind of get this turning around. So now what I'm going to do is grab all these edges along the top and just extrude these out. Now I'm going to target weld again, so target weld the new one to that existing one, and same here. So, and then go back to our top view and just move these about a bit. So I'm going to pull them over here a bit, and then this one over here a bit as well. Maybe just start to move those a little bit. This one's going to kind of follow the shape of this, so it's going to come out a bit. So now we have this. I'm going to select those vertices that I just moved, and in this angle I'm just going to pull them up slightly as well, just so the hand stays coming up for a little bit, and it's going to come back down again when it gets near the wrist. So this one here is down too far by quite a lot. It's going to be over here, just look at it from a few different angles to see. And I'm going to turn on my edge constraints now and just move it over a bit to kind of split that a bit more evenly. So I'm pretty happy where that is now. So what I'm going to do now is just grab this edge and I'm going to bridge from here to here. So what I want to actually do first is pull this polygon back out a bit and kind of spread these out even more than I had them. Okay, so something like that. Now I'm going to have those two selected and I'm just going to go, in fact I really don't like where that vertex is. I'm going to turn my edge constraints back on and just pull it down a little bit. Now in edge mode I'm going to select these two edges, so we're going past 3 edges up to this one. I'm going to use bridge settings and put this up to 3. So now what we can do is target weld these new vertexes to those old ones. Now we have these 2 vertices here that we're going to have to pull up quite a lot, in fact. So let's see. We've pulled this one up kind of enough, I think. I'm going to have to pull that one up quite a lot though. And then just pull them back a bit. And maybe in our top view we can see where these are going. Okay, so this one needs to come out to here because this is part of the edge of the hand. So I'm going to try move these in a little bit more again. Just kind of have to keep moving these over by the look of it. And okay, so now we have this. And we can kind of put that down there even. So I'm just going to move that down a little bit as well, just because it's not going to reach the top of the pan or the top of the hand yet. It's going to kind of curve up over it. So something like that should be enough to get it going. Now what I'm going to do is select this edge and this edge, so these top 2 edges, and again I'm going to bridge the same as I did last time and just target weld to new vertices to the existing ones. And once again with these new ones on the top of the hand, I'm just going to go into the left view and kind of pull these up, so up to somewhere like this. This is where we're going to start curving back down, so I'm not going to go above this one. Just going to go into my wireframe to see this back vertex here, and I'll keep that fairly straight, I think. In fact, I think I'm dipping down a bit too harshly there. So we have this shape, and in our top view you can see they're kind of skewed over a bit, so I'm just going to pull them over to loosen that a bit. And in fact I think I'll pull these 3 over here a bit, and this one as well, just to ease off the angle on the side of the hand. So now all we've left to do is select these edges here and extrude these out on the Y, and in our top view we can see we're matching this to this kind of, so put it roughly here. What we're going to do now is go to vertex mode and hit wireframe and just select all these edges, or all these vertices that are going to be at the wrist. Basically this is where it's going to connect to the wrist. So what I'm going to do now is go over to edit geometry and go down here to make planar, and I'm going to make planar on the Z axis, so it's going to line all these up like this. I'm going to exit the wireframe and I'm going to just before I do anything, I'm going to weld these vertices together and these vertices together. So now in our top view, what I'm going to do is select all these and go to scale and scale them uniformly, and something like this. And then this edge here is at way too much of an angle. So what I can do here is just pull all of this over, because the thumb still comes in quite a lot here, and even this part here I can pull over, I think, as well. What I'm going to do now is just these ones here I think are a bit too high, so maybe I'll pull them down a bit and in a bit to kind of help make that shape a bit. Yeah, okay. So now we're looking at this. Maybe this can come up a little bit more as well, and out this way a bit more. Okay, so now we have this, and we'll just straighten up some of these vertices again. So this one can come over to the middle of the hand, kinda, and then these can come over a bit. So we'll just kind of have it like this. Maybe pull that over a bit if you want as well. So we have this border now at the end, which is going to connect to the arm, but if you see here, we've got 12 edges still, and we got rid of some of the edges up here, but we still have too many edges because we're connecting to an arm that has 8 edges, and we have 12 at the minute. So if we connect like this, all we're going to do is end up with a lot of triangles at the wrist joint, which we don't want, because the wrist is where we're animating, or deforms a lot during animation, so we don't want any triangles up there really. So what I'm going to do is just try to take out some of these edges here instead. So what I think I'll do is, first off, I'm going to grab this vertex, turn on edge constraints, and just pull it over a little bit more than it is, just to kind of ease this angle here, because that was a bit too sharp. I know it's sharp there now, but that's a little bit better anyway. So to get rid of some of these edges, what I'm going to do is I'm going to the top view first and see what I can do here. What I'm going to do is turn off edge constraints anyway, and try to weld some of these together. So I'm going to weld from this vertex to this vertex, and this vertex to this vertex, and then close this one at the end as well. So what we're left with here is a triangle at this point. So that triangle is fine there, because this part of the hand isn't going to deform. So having a triangle here is perfectly fine, because it's not going to ever deform. Whereas you don't want a triangle somewhere like on the wrist where we're going to have a lot of deformation. But here, in my opinion, is perfectly fine to have a triangle. When we go into Unity, it's going to triangulate the mesh anyway, so it's going to turn all of our quads into triangles. So even this polygon here would eventually turn into a triangle, so it's not much different to having that anyway, and because it's in a fairly flat area, it shouldn't be noticeable, I don't think. So with this, what I'm going to do is just turn on my edge constraints again and just kind of even up this gap a bit. Just try to get these polygons a bit closer to the same size. And what I might do is pull this down a bit here. I'm just thinking what I might do with this. I'm going to pull that up a bit. It looks like it's dipped in a bit too much. I'm just going to double check the bottom of my hand. sure it's okay. Seems to be okay to me. I might pull these down a bit more again just to really emphasize that indent that we have. And as well, I might pull these up a little bit just to emphasize that pad. I still think this pad is maybe a little bit too big, but it's fine. I'm not going to spend too much time pushing and pulling vertices, because that you can spend hours doing that anyway, and I mean, that's not the point of this. I'm just showing you how to make a general hand. So we have this triangle, like I said. We're going to leave it, and what I'm going to do is see if I can get rid of any more edges. So what we're at this border now, we have 11 edges. So we still need to get rid of some because we need to get down nearer to 8. So I think I'll just get rid of one more though and go to 10, and we'll fix the last 2 edges when we attach it to the arm. So in the bottom view, one last time, we're going to have a look, and things are after getting a bit skewed in the bottom view, I think. I'm going to move that over, and just kind of move all of these over a little bit. Okay, so in the bottom view, what I'm going to do is, let's see, just want to put this, I'm going to put in a triangle again, but I want to put it somewhere that's not going to make a massive impact. So looking at this shape, what I'm going to do is weld these vertices to these ones. So I'm going to go there to there, there to there, and there to there. So now we have that part of the hand, and we've lost the pad of the hand entirely now because of that. So what I'm going to have to do is move all of these vertices in, so in and up, and these are going to make the pad of the hand instead. And then what I'm going to do with all these is just turn on my edge constraint and pull these up a bit to round out that shape again. Now this vertex here I might need to move a bit because it's kind of, is it causing a problem? I'll just pull it up a little bit, not much though. Maybe pull it out a little bit as well. I think that's okay though. Okay, so now we have all this, and what we're going to do is start to pull these in a little bit as well. So in, and in. Alright. So there's something wrong here. This edge here I think is in too far. Yeah, it was. Okay, so we've done that triangle on the top, and we've done that triangle on the bottom, but those triangles are perfectly fine. I mean, you'll hear people saying, well, first what I'm going to start doing here is trying to make this a bit more circular because it's going to connect into the cylinder of the arm. So I'm just going to try get a rough shape here. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to talk a little bit as well. So you'll hear a lot of people saying that triangles are a very bad thing, but in my opinion they're not the worst, really. There's certain places, like I said, we're going to have them, and I think where I've put them is, I'm pretty okay with where they are at the minute. So that's a bit more cylindrical than it was. Still not very circular, but I don't think we're going to be able to get very circular. So I'm just going to double check everything on the hand, and it's looking pretty okay. Maybe this needs to come down a little bit because I'm after losing so I think that's okay now. So what I'm going to do now is exit isolation mode, go into my front view and just rotate this hand 90 degrees, and then I'm going to place it into position. But as you see, I've actually modeled it the wrong direction, so what I'm going to have to do is flip it on the X, or mirror it on the X, not copy or clone or anything, just plain mirror. Now when I rotate it 90 degrees, you'll see it's facing the right way. So now we're going to just put it into position, and it's a little bit small, I think, so I'm going to actually scale it up a little bit, not quite that much, I think. So scale it up a little bit, and then in our left view I'm going to position it as well. So in our left view, if you look, it's when we connect this, it's going to pull in a little bit, but actually I don't really like the shape I've got here. Okay, I think it's these vertices that are the problem. Okay, so that's a bit of a better shape now. But yeah, it's going to pull in a bit when we connect this. So what I'm going to try to do is just scale these in a little bit more on the X, and then move them over a little bit more. So again, I'm trying to keep this angle not too bad. I can move this one because I think this one is alright. Just check on the back what I'm doing there. I think I've moved this one out a bit too far. Maybe that one as well. Okay. So back in the left view, just gonna move this entire hand over now, and it's a lot closer to the size now that we need. So in the front view, you can see it's still way too narrow. So all I'm going to do is scale it slightly on the X to kind of fatten it out a bit. I'm not going to move it much because I don't want to really distort the shape. So I think that is enough even, and I'm just going to place it roughly where I want it, so somewhere like there. Now I'm going to attach the arm to the hand, and what we're going to do is start welding. So first I'm going to just I'm just going to grab those vertices and scale this in as well on the X. So somewhere to there maybe. What I'm going to do now is start scaling this whole arm in on the X because it's kind of getting too sharp at the bottom. So I'm going to try ease it off, and while I'm easing it off, I'm going to stray a bit from the reference image, not a huge amount. I mean, it's still pretty close to the shape, and I mean the shape is more important than the actual reference image. So once I get the shape pretty right, I think I'll be pretty happy. So I'm just going to move those in a bit more, and maybe this one as well. Just kind of flatten out the two, the top and bottom of the wrist. Okay, so now I have this. I'm just going to position these last couple of vertices a bit better, just so they don't go too out of shape. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to start doing is target welding now. So I'm going to target weld here to here, here to here, just kind of go around the wrist, and it's going to deform the handle a little bit from what we had, but it won't be too bad. I think we'll be able to fix it. And if you look here, we're getting to this point. We've welded all our vertices, and there's only one edge left, and we have 3 edges left on the hand. That's because we had 10 edges remaining on the hand, and we've 8 on the arm, so we've got these extra edges. If I welded this, we'd have 2 extra, so So we need to get rid of these. So to get rid of these, I'm just going to weld there to there and create this triangle, and here to here and create this triangle. And I do need to get rid of these triangles though, because it's too near the wrist for my liking. So when we're animating, it's those triangles, I don't really want them there. So I'm going to cut from the middle of this triangle, let me just try that again, middle of this triangle to the middle of that triangle. And all that's going to do is turn those two triangles into quads. So now with my edge constraints on, I'm going to go to scale these in on the X, and then turn my edge constraints off again and just move these in on the X and up on the Z, and maybe out a little bit on the Y as well, just to round out the shape of that a bit better. What I'm going to do now is just turn on my edge constraints again and just kind of move this in on the Y and up on the Z a bit, just to kind of give this polygon here a bit more room. I think I can move it over even more actually and kind of keep that curve going. So we have all this. I'm going to turn off my edge constraints and just have a look at this in my front view. That looks pretty good. I mean, it's connected pretty well. Could move that over a bit, in fact, and could move that out a bit. But overall, that's pretty good, I think. I'm going to put in an edge connection here as well, just because I want another loop here just for animating. So I'm going to move this down to about there and scale it in, just so it's almost straight, and move it out this way a bit so it dips in kind of when the wrist starts. So I'm going to move these out a bit more. Okay, so in my left view I'm just going to check all this. I think my hand needs to come over a bit. I'm going to grab all the vertices in the hand and just move it slightly to the left, and then I think what I'll do is scale this back out a little bit, in fact, and then again grab it all and just move it over a bit. Just check it again in the front view and have a little look at it, and it's looking pretty good to me. Like I said, these triangles that we have, they're perfectly fine. I might pull this vertex out a little bit. Maybe this one as well. Just to kind of get those pad shapes merging together here, because they kind of merge together at the bottom of your hand. Just double check all these. I could in fact make this a little more padded, but I'm just going to put on a turbo smooth here to have a better look at how my shapes are going, and it's looking pretty okay, I think. I'm pretty happy with those shapes. It's connecting to the arm, there's no pinching really when I've had this turbo smooth on. And as you can see, there's no real pinching where the triangles are either. If I put those triangles near the edge, we'd have a little bit of pinching here and you'd see a kind of funny shape. So I think at the minute they're okay. Even this kind of makeshift quad area that I did seems to be working. So that's the entire hand done. And in the next video I'm just going to model the shoulder and attach that to the arm as well, and then we'll have the entire shoulder or the entire arm section done, which is kind of the most time consuming bit, especially the hand. I mean, that hand took ages. The only other bit that takes long is the face, but I'm not going to be doing facial modeling. I'm going to do a head, but I'm not going to make a face. I'm going to keep it kind of this mannequin head for now, and maybe do an entirely different because that will be probably a couple of hours long. So at the minute though, I'm pretty happy with where we are, and hopefully you were able to follow along with that. I know I went a bit fast, but like I said, the video is long enough, so I don't want to make it even longer. So you can just rewatch it again if there's some bits I went through too fast. I think I mentioned everything that needs to be mentioned. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.